The joint meeting of the opposition is expected in July. While it's great that the opposition parties are coming together for a show of strength, but this display is often criticized as a mere photo op. Well, forget the BJP or its criticism. Here are some stinging questions to which the opposition parties must find an answer to if this unity is to have any real electoral consequences. Number one, Modi versus who? Does the opposition party have a leadership face? A face which has the backing of all the opposition parties together. Number two, is there a real electoral alliance or a seat sharing that can be stitched together by these opposition parties? And more importantly, if this unity, it did not last till the press conference could conclude with AAP issuing a warning statement for the Congress party, will these opposition parties be able to tread through the various difficult political questions that will invariably arise in the run-up to 2024? All these questions are focused on Viewpoint tonight.
काफ़ी अच्छी मुलाकात हुई है और एक साथ चलने की सहमति हुई है और बहुत अच्छे ढंग से, और सब लोगों ने माना है कि हम लोग मिलकर के चलेंगे और देश के हित में है।
और हम 10 या 12 तारीख को फिर शिमला में हम वहाँ फिर मिल रहे हैं।
मैंने मीटिंग में भी कहा, ये विचारधारा की लड़ाई है और इसमें हम सब एक साथ खड़े हैं।
पटना से शुरुआत हुआ है, मीटिंग अच्छा हुआ है। वी आर यूनाइटेड, हम लोग एक है। दूसरी बात है, वी विल फाइट यूनाइटेडली।
हमको तो उसमें बुलाया नहीं गया है, इसलिए नहीं बुलाया गया है क्योंकि नंबर 1 बात यह है कि हम सच्चाई को बयान कर देंगे।
और जब दिल्ली अध्यादेश का मैटर आया तो सारी पार्टियां, सारी विपक्षी पार्टियों ने आग्रह किया कि कांग्रेस भी इसका खंडन करे, लेकिन मीटिंग में कांग्रेस ने साफ मना कर दिया कि इसके ऊपर हम कोई बात नहीं करेंगे। कांग्रेस का यही रुख रहा। तो हमारे हिसाब से ऐसे कोई भी गठबंधन जिसमें कांग्रेस हिस्सा होगी, हमारे लिए पार्टिसिपेट करना मुश्किल हो जाएगा।
पटना में एक फोटो सेशन चल रहा है, सारे विपक्ष के नेता एक मंच पर इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं।
आज मुझे बड़ा आश्चर्य हुआ, मुझे ये 23 तारीख को सारे पटना में ये गलबाइयां कर रहे हैं, गले मिल रहे हैं, मुलाकात कर रहे हैं, इनकी तस्वीरें देख रहा हूं तो मुझे याद आता है कि राजनीति में क्या से क्या हो गया।
Well, beyond the photo op, will the opposition parties be able to stitch together a very real alliance? The next meeting is slated to happen in the month of July. It is likely to happen in the state of Shimla, in the state of Himachal Pradesh, in the city of Shimla, which is a Congress-ruled state. You'd remember that parties like TMC had raised an objection that we're not going to have any of this meet in any of the Congress-ruled state. Who is leading this opposition party, the entire group that has come together, is also a million-dollar question. Now the Congress party seems to be in a relatively stronger footing after the Karnataka Assembly results, and much will depend when the elections in the poll-bound states of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh really happen and the results of that really come out. To talk about the various aspects of the opposition unity and how real this unity really is, joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Sushil Modi, who's the former Deputy Chief Minister for the state of Bihar and also a senior leader of the BJP and a member of Parliament. Sir, नमस्कार, बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। आज विपक्षी दलों की एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मीटिंग हुई सर पटना में, और विपक्षी दलों की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस आई एम श्योर आपने भी सुनी होगी। उनका कहना है कि बीजेपी काफी नर्वस है क्योंकि हम सारी पार्टियां एकजुट हो गए हैं। आप क्या जवाब देना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, आज की बैठक जो है ये तो पूरी तरह से फेल कर गई, टाई फिस हो गई। अरविंद केजरीवाल की तीखी झड़प हुई बैठक के अंदर खरगे साहब से, और वो गुस्से में प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस छोड़कर दिल्ली चले गए। तो यही तो उपलब्धि है कि 2 राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री वो नाराज होकर छोड़कर चले गए, और बैठक के दौरान ही आम आदमी पार्टी की प्रवक्ता ट्वीट कर रही हैं और अरविंद केजरीवाल धमकी दे रहे हैं, ब्लैकमेल कर रहे हैं कांग्रेस को कि ऑर्डिनेंस के मुद्दे पर सहमति प्रकट करो, नहीं तो हम जो निर्णय करना होगा हम करेंगे। और अभी भी मुझे समाचार मिला, मैंने अभी देखा है टीवी पर ट्वीट आया है कि कांग्रेस जहां जहां बैठक में शामिल होगी वहां आम आदमी पार्टी शामिल नहीं होगी। इसे मैंने कहा कि खोदा पहाड़ निकली चुहिया, और वो भी मरी हुई चुहिया। ये तो बैठक मुझे से फ्लॉप हो गई। इसका निष्कर्ष क्या है? अगली बैठक का टोटल, अगर इफ यू वांट टू नो व्हाट वाज द टोटल अचीवमेंट ऑफ दिस मीटिंग,
राइट,
सो दे वर एबल टू फिक्स द नेक्स्ट डेट एंड नेक्स्ट वेन्यू फॉर द मीटिंग। यही उनकी उपलब्धि है। भाई, प्रधानमंत्री के पद के उम्मीदवार पर कोई चर्चा हुई क्या? नीतीश कुमार को कन्वेनर बनाने के मुद्दे पर कोई चर्चा हुई क्या? मैनिफेस्टो के लिए किसी को कन्वेनर बनाने पर चर्चा हुई क्या? कोई कोऑर्डिनेशन कमेटी बनाने पर कोई चर्चा हुई क्या? किन राज्यों में 1:1 कैसे लड़ेंगे, उस पर क्या चर्चा हुई? और उल्टे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस को क्वेश्चन आंसर लिया ही नहीं, जबकि नीतीश जी ने पहले कहा था कि प्रेस के बाद, भाषण के बाद हम क्वेश्चन लेंगे, और उठकर चले गए। तो इसलिए देखिए, ये तो पूरी तरह से बैठक फ्लॉप हो गई, और आगे भी बैठ के इसी प्रकार की होने वाली है। क्या ममता बनर्जी बंगाल के अंदर जो हिंसा हो रही है, और अधीर रंजन चौधरी जो धरना पर बैठे, उसको आज मैंने सुना कि उसको भी मुद्दा उठाया था उन्होंने मीटिंग के अंदर जी। तो बेचारे कांग्रेस के लोगों, कांग्रेसियों की हत्या हो रही है बंगाल में।
सुशील जी,
और ममता बनर्जी कह रही है कि सीपीएम के साथ अगर कांग्रेस रहेगी तो हम चुनाव नहीं लड़ेंगे। जी,
मैं आपसे सहमत हूं जहां तक आम आदमी पार्टी का मुद्दा है, और जिस तरह से उन्होंने पूरा स्टेटमेंट रखा, कहीं ना कहीं आम आदमी पार्टी इस विपक्ष की एकता का हिस्सा नहीं बन पाई है। और जो ऑर्डिनेंस का पूरा इशू है, पूरा जो कांग्रेस और आम आदमी पार्टी के बीच में दिक्कत चल रही है, वो कहीं ना कहीं इस विपक्षी एकता को प्रभाव डाल रहा है। लेकिन अगर आम आदमी पार्टी को 1 मिनट के लिए किनारे रख दिया जाए और इस एकजुट विपक्ष की बात की जाए, आपने ममता बनर्जी का जिक्र किया। ममता बनर्जी ने जब प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में बात की तो उन्होंने बहुत सारे मुद्दे उठाए। उन्होंने कहा कि बीजेपी का सत्ता से जाना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं इन्होंने सभी इंस्टीट्यूशंस का मिसयूज किया है। फिर से उन्होंने प्रजातंत्र की होने ना होने पर एक सवाल उठाया, और दूसरा सवाल उनका ये कहना है कि कहीं ना कहीं जुडिशरी का भी मिसयूज जो है वो बीजेपी की सरकार ने किया है।
अरे ममता बनर्जी लोकतंत्र की बात किस मुंह से कर रही है? मैंने तो अभी पंचायत चुनाव का जिक्र किया ना
जी। कितने
लोग मारे गए पंचायत चुनाव के अंदर, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक को यह कहना पड़ा कि हम हस्तक्षेप नहीं करेंगे, जो हाईकोर्ट का फैसला है वो मान्य होना चाहिए। धरना पर कौन बैठे थे? सुधींदु अधिकारी बैठे थे क्या? अधीर रंजन चौधरी बैठे थे धरना पर, और कितने कांग्रेस के लोगों की हत्या हो गई। तो जो लोग अपने राज्य के अंदर लोकतंत्र का गला घोंट रहे हैं, वो हम पर आरोप लगा रहे हैं। ये नीतीश कुमार, उन्होंने हमारे सारे होर्डिंग को हटवा दिया। 100 से ज्यादा होर्डिंग जो हम लोगों ने लगाया था, रातों रात उसको उखाड़ कर फेंक दिया। जिनको ये बर्दाश्त नहीं है, और ये जेपी की धरती है, उस पर राहुल गांधी आकर लोकतंत्र की बात कर रहे हैं। जिनकी दादी ने इमरजेंसी थोपी, जिनकी दादी ने प्रेस की पर पाबंदी लगा दिया, जेपी को गिरफ्तार करके जेल में बंद कर दिया। और देखिए, यहाँ 15 पार्टी में 10 पार्टियां ऐसी आई हैं, 11 है, जिनकी टोटल एमपी हैं 24। माले का एक भी एमपी नहीं, आरजेडी का एक भी एमपी नहीं, 0, पीडीपी का 0। तो 15 में 3 ऐसी पार्टियां हैं जिनका लोकसभा में 0 है, और 2 पार्टियां हैं, आम आदमी पार्टी 1 एमपी, जेएमएम 1 एमपी। तो जिनकी 0 है, 1 है, सीपीएम का 3, सीपीआई का 2। वो लंबी लंबी बात कर रहे हैं और नरेंद्र मोदी को चुनौती देने की बात कर रहे हैं। और आम आदमी पार्टी को क्यों छोड़ दें? क्या आम आदमी पार्टी 2 राज्यों के अंदर है आम आदमी पार्टी। और देखिएगा 6 महीने के बाद ममता बनर्जी का वही हाल होगा जो हाल अरविंद केजरीवाल का हुआ है। ममता बनर्जी को भी छोड़ के जाना पड़ेगा। कर्नाटक चुनाव के बाद कांग्रेस का
एक सवाल है जो आम आदमी पार्टी ने उठाया, और मैं उस पर आपकी टिप्पणी जरूर जानना चाहूंगी। उनका कहना है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी ऑर्डिनेंस पर कोई स्टैंड इसलिए नहीं ले रही है क्योंकि उनकी बीजेपी से साठगांठ हो गई है। तो जहां तक आम आदमी पार्टी की बात है, वो तो पूरा आरोप कांग्रेस पर यह लगा रही है कि कहीं ना कहीं उसने बीजेपी से हाथ मिला लिया है।
यही तो मैं कह रहा हूं कि विपक्षी एकता का यही हाल है कि कल तक ममता बनर्जी कहती थी कि बंगाल के अंदर कांग्रेस बीजेपी की बी टीम है, तो एक दूसरे को बीजेपी की बी टीम बता रहे हैं। गुजरात के अंदर क्या हुआ? गुजरात के अंदर क्या कहा कांग्रेस ने आम आदमी पार्टी के बारे में? तो कांग्रेस कह रही है कि बीजेपी की बी टीम है आम आदमी पार्टी कह रही है कि बीजेपी की बी टीम है कांग्रेस। तो सब तो बीजेपी की बी टीम है। अरे ये सारे वो लोग हैं जो एक समय में हम लोग के साथ गठबंधन में रहे हैं, आज किन्हीं कारणों से वो अलग हो गए हों, लेकिन इनकी कोई क्रेडिबिलिटी नहीं है। और 15 पार्टियां जो इकट्ठी हुई, उसमें 10 पार्टियां हैं जो परिवार की पार्टियां हैं, और 12 पार्टियां ऐसी जिनके नेताओं पर भ्रष्टाचार के गंभीर आरोप लगे हैं। ये नरेंद्र मोदी को इसलिए हटाना चाहते हैं ताकि कोई ऐसी सरकार बने इनके मुकदमों को खत्म करा सके, उनको मुकदमों से बचा सके। इनको ना लोकतंत्र से मतलब है, ना आम आदमी से कोई मतलब है। और इस मीटिंग के अंदर नीतीश कुमार को कन्वीनर क्यों नहीं बनाया गया? बड़ी उम्मीद लगाए बैठे थे जदयू के लोग कि नीतीश कुमार कन्वीनर बनेंगे। कहाँ बने कन्वीनर? मैनिफेस्टो के लिए कोई कमेटी बनी क्या? प्रधानमंत्री पद के उम्मीदवार पर कोई चर्चा हुई क्या? तो हुआ क्या? 5 घंटे की बैठक में इतना ही हुआ कि हम मिलकर चुनाव लड़ेंगे। ये तो बड़ा वेग बात है, मिलकर चुनाव लड़ेंगे।
जी जी।
सवाल तो ये है कि आरएलडी क्यों नहीं आया बैठक में? 7 दल क्यों नहीं आए बैठक के अंदर? और क्या अखिलेश यादव उत्तर प्रदेश में कांग्रेस के लिए जगह छोड़ने के लिए तैयार हैं क्या? देखिए 6 ऐसे स्टेट्स हैं जहां रीजनल पार्टीज की सरकारें हैं जो कांग्रेस को बिल्कुल भी जगह देने के लिए तैयार नहीं है।
जी सर एक मैं सवाल आपसे सीधा पूछना चाहूंगी, और ये सवाल नेतृत्व का है, लीडरशिप का है। प्रधानमंत्री की लोकप्रियता और जिस तरह से उनको लोगों का सपोर्ट और समर्थन मिला है, जो उनका इलेक्टोरल मैंडेट है वो ऐतिहासिक है। इट्स अ हिस्टोरिकल मैंडेट दैट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज गॉट इन हिज 2 टर्म्स। सबसे बड़ा सवाल इस समय विपक्ष के लिए ये खड़ा हो रहा है कि उनका लीडरशिप फेस कौन होगा, उनका चेहरा कौन होगा। विपक्ष का कहना ये है कि लीडरशिप का जो पूरा सवाल है वो प्राथमिक सवाल नहीं है हमारे लिए। हमारे लिए सवाल ये है कि हमारे पास मुद्दे हैं, इन मुद्दों पर हम लोगों से जाकर वोट मांगेंगे, और जो ये लीडरशिप का क्वेश्चन है इसके बारे में हम बाद में सोचेंगे। तर्क को कैसे देखते हैं?
देखिए मुद्दा क्या है इनके पास? ये मुद्दा मतलब अडानी चिल्ला रहे थे। 1 महीने से राहुल गांधी ने कभी अडानी का नाम तक लिया क्या? पूरी संसद को नहीं चलने दिया अडानी के मुद्दे पर। अब पिछले 1.5-2 महीने से एक बार भी राहुल गांधी ने अडानी का नाम नहीं लिया। देखिए आज तक सरकार के खिलाफ आंदोलन हुए हैं जब सरकार पर करप्शन के आरोप लगे। क्या नरेंद्र मोदी उनकी सरकार पर कोई करप्शन का आरोप लगा? आज तो उल्टा है कि करप्शन का आरोप विपक्ष पर लगा है। बोफोर्स के मुद्दे पर राजीव गांधी की सरकार चली गई, और 77 में इंदिरा गांधी की तानाशाही और करप्शन के मुद्दे पर कांग्रेस चली गई। लेकिन क्या आज आरोप है नरेंद्र मोदी पर करप्शन का? करप्शन का आरोप तो बाकी लोगों पर है। तो आज तो उनके खिलाफ माहौल बन रहा है, तो वो हमारे खिलाफ किस मुद्दे पर लड़ेंगे? और चेहरा की आवश्यक नहीं है। आखिर जनता जानना चाहेगी कि नरेंद्र मोदी को अगर आप हटाना चाहते हैं तो कोई क्रेडिबल चेहरे का नाम बताइए ना। उसको इसलिए आप हटा रहे हैं, दूर कर रहे हैं। कभी आप कह रहे हैं कि आम आदमी पार्टी को छोड़ दीजिए, कभी प्राइम मिनिस्टरशिप के पद को छोड़ दीजिए, क्योंकि आप तय नहीं कर सकते हैं। तो देश की जनता जानना चाहती है कि अगर नरेंद्र मोदी को हटाना है तो कहीं ऐसा न हो जाए कि देवगौड़ा, इंद्र गुजराल, चंद्रशेखर चौधरी, चरण सिंह जैसा कोई प्रधानमंत्री बन जाए जिसकी सरकार 6 महीने 8 महीना चलो सरकार चली जाए। तो चेहरा चाहिए ना, क्यों नहीं चेहरा चाहिए? अगर हिम्मत है तो नाम तय कीजिए, चेहरा तय कीजिए। इसलिए मैंने कल मजाक में कहा कि दुल्हों की बारात है। आज जो इकट्ठा हुए उसमें से अधिकांश लोग प्रधानमंत्री पद के दावेदार हैं, दूल्हा हैं, लेकिन तय नहीं कर पा रहे हैं कि वो घोषणा करे कि वास्तविक दूल्हा कौन है। तो इसलिए देखिए नरेंद्र मोदी को दुनिया देख रही है। 9 साल में एक करप्शन का आरोप नहीं लगा, उल्टे राहुल गांधी को सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाकर माफी मांगनी पड़ी। और आज अमेरिका के संसद में जिस प्रकार का स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन मिला है, भाषण हुआ, तो दुनिया देख रही कि नहीं देख रही है? और इनको भी देख रही, सब फ्यूज लोग हैं। आज बैठक में आप देखिए, मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहूँगा, जैसे लगता बुझा हुआ दिया होता है। तो मोस्ट ऑफ द लीडर्स वर लुकिंग लाइक ए फ्यूज बल्ब इन द मीटिंग। दे हैव नो एंथुसिज्म। वो थक गए नरेंद्र मोदी से लड़ते लड़ते। और नरेंद्र मोदी का स्टेमिना देखिए, नरेंद्र मोदी का की एनर्जी देखिए, एनर्जी का लेवल देखिए, किस तरह से वो और पूरे देश और दुनिया में घूमकर भारत का झंडा बुलंद करने का काम कर रहे हैं।
और ये जो नेतृत्व का प्रश्न है, ये विपक्ष को जरूर परेशान करेगा आने वाले समय में भी। सुशील मोदी जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस ऑन द ब्रॉडकास्ट। अपना समय देने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। Well, that was Mr. Sushil Modi, the former Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Bihar, saying that all the opposition parties here and all the key leaders who were present there have prime ministerial ambitions. And if you have too many contenders, how do you really decide the leadership question? Well, are there real fishes, or there is a substantial challenge that these opposition parties can pose to the BJP in the run-up to 2024? Taking that question to our guests as well who are joining us on Viewpoint tonight, Anila Singh of the BJP. We have Mr. Salman Soz, who's the national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Mr. Tausifur Rahman from the TMC. Ravula Sridhar Reddy, who's the leader of BRS, joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Soz, I'll come to you first. I'm sure you heard the conversation that I was just having with Mr. Sushil Modi. And there are some important questions that the BJP is raising. I mean, let's keep the jumlas aside. Let's keep the political allegations aside. But more importantly, on the question of leadership, today in this very important meeting, there was no substantial decision that was taken. Whether it's on the convener, whether it's about the form and structure, and what is the method with which the opposition is going to move forward. None of the substantial questions were answered in this meeting or after this meeting. Mr. Soz.
Well, I think not just the BJP, but you were also raising the same question. What about the leadership issue? What I would say is that the people of the country are going to basically decide how this election is going to be fought. My sense is that the issues that confront India are so vast, so deeply troubling, that I think the BJP is done. Mr. Modi is done. I think there's an undercurrent that is going to sweep the BJP out of power, mark my words. What is happening is basically the Prime Minister is maybe burnishing his image, etc. abroad. But the reality is, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, sir. I'm just waiting for you to finish your argument. Please go ahead.
Okay. But the reality is that one issue after another is actually eating away at our country. In a country where a state is burning for more than 45 days and the Prime Minister of the country has not said a single word. Single word. That is what we are confronting.
Sir,
that you have millions upon millions of young people without jobs, without any opportunity, without any hope. That is going to be a big issue.
No, Mr. Soz, I believe that as the responsible opposition, those are very... Sir, let me hear my interjection and then please answer it. Then I'll bring in BJP as well. My point here is that as the responsible opposition, it's the job of the Congress Party to bring up these issues of unemployment, price rise, or various other issues. Say the law and order situation in the northeastern state right now. All of those are pertinent points. But I'm talking about the electoral battle here. And other than these key stinging issues that concern the people, to get your electoral calculations right, to have your strategy in the right place is equally important. You'd remember the times from the Congress Party when you had a strong leadership like the former Prime Minister of the country, Indira Gandhi. And that time, India is Indira and Indira is India. That was the slogan of the Congress Party because you had a firm leadership. So yours is not a party that is unaware of the importance of leadership. And I wonder why you're ducking that question.
I'm not ducking that question at all. In fact, as a responsible media organization, you people should be focusing a lot more on the issues that really trouble the people of this country, including Manipur. But you people are much more focused on other things, and we know why you're doing that. But that is it.
All right. I take objection to that statement, but let's focus on the moot issue. Yeah.
Let me just say that as far as the Congress Party is concerned, we have through our own strategy. We don't need to learn strategy from either you or the BJP or anybody else. Through our own work, we've already, just in the last two elections, we've defeated the BJP in Himachal Pradesh.
Yes.
We've defeated soundly the BJP in Karnataka. You name a state and you'll see what's in Madhya Pradesh. Their situation is terrible. In Bihar, the situation is terrible. In Maharashtra, the situation is terrible. Why do you think Mr. Sushil Modi, he's basically the former deputy chief minister of Bihar, why do you think he's so upset? Why do you think all these ministers are coming out against this meeting that we had on opposition unity? Because they're petrified, because they are tied at the hip
Mr.
to
Soz,
Mr. Modi's fortunes.
I'm just going to keep all the personal comments that you made about me on the channel aside. I'm just going to keep all the personal questions aside.
And Mr. Sushil Modi cannot win anything in Bihar on his own.
He's not here to
They're all
respond to your
trying to behave-
jibes, but I'll go to the BJP. My only point to you, Mr. Soz, is that you spoke of the victory in the state of Karnataka, a thumping historic victory. Nobody can take that away from you. But you got that victory because you had a decisive state leadership. That is how you won that election, with the right kind of issues. So the question of leadership for any political party is important, including the BJP. Anilaji, a lot of things have been said here. More importantly, the Congress party is saying the days of the BJP are numbered. People are troubled about real issues. They want answers to issues like unemployment and price rise. And the BJP is very nervous with the kind of opposition unity which has been shown today in Patna.
My Ram Ram to everyone, and I was listening to Congress party's spokesperson, and he has said many things, many accusations, I'll say so, but he did not reply many of the questions which you asked regarding the so-called meeting, a flop meeting which was held in Patna today. The best scorer in this gang was Congress party, which got 9%, only 9% in last general elections. So the top scorer, Congress party, with 9%. So a political party which got 9% should not have very high hopes.
19%, madam. Please get your facts right. 19%.
Mr. Soz, let her finish your point. I did not allow anybody to interrupt you. Let the BJP finish her argument, and then I'll come to you. One second. Salmanji, please have some patience. Anilaji, please go ahead.
If I talk about
Please
Mamta ji,
Don't mislead
Mamta
me.
ji is saying
9% is incorrect.
No, can I just have the BJP right now? Yes.
Congress party.
Yes.
The RLD has not participated. We know that things are not good in between Akhilesh Yadav and Jen Chaudhary.
Yes.
We have very well seen the scene created by Aam Aadmi Party and Congress in this particular meeting. So there are many political parties who are standing at crossroads with each other, and they're just giving photo op.
No,
They want to
Anilaji,
show
Anilaji,
that we are
I
going to
asked
be
these
together
questions.
And Modi ji is going to be
Yes.
scared.
Yes, Anilaji, I asked these
Yes,
questions
Montiriya, please.
as I began this discussion to the Congress party, and there is no denying the fact that even within the opposition camps, like it happened between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress party, it's a bitter spat that has come out in the public domain, and that raises questions on the opposition unity. That being said, there were more than a dozen political parties, which are important political parties across the country, which came today on a single stage. This is not the first show of strength that they have shown. I remember a joint petition that went to the Supreme Court. Yes, nothing happened in that petition, and the Supreme Court did not give any relief. When it came to the so-called misuse of the agencies, that allegation was not entertained by the Supreme Court. But on multiple occasions, the opposition parties has shown a certain sense of unity, and perhaps they'll be able to come through on that promise of having and forging those electoral alliances.
Is this for me?
Yes, yes.
All right. Lately, we have seen that citizens of this great country, they vote for one particular alliance, say NDA or UPA, whatever, and they're giving clear majority, which has happened with Bharatiya Janata Party in the leadership of Modi ji. This is going to happen again in 24. This is the reality, and people understand very well. Whatever these opposition parties, I mean, they are the political parties which believe in democracy, which believe in scams, which believe in supporting and advocating for the rioters, for the terrorists, for the criminals. So these political parties, if they are having any high hopes that they are going to be selected and elected by the public of India, then of course they are seeing Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne.
Let's see.
I was listening to Mr. Soz, and he was saying he said many things about Bharatiya Janata Party, and he discussed about, or rather he pointed finger towards us for Manipur as well. A political party which had literally burnt Kashmir, Punjab, many of the northeast states, Tamil Nadu. Today they are telling us how and what we should do.
I want to bring in Tauseef Rahman and Ravula Sridhar Reddy as well. Both have been patiently listening to this discussion. और देखना होगा कि ये हसीन सपने कितने सच होते हैं अनिला जी, because the opposition parties are pretty confident. Mr. Tauseef Rahman, Mamata Banerjee gave a very stern and an emphatic statement when that press conference was happening. But the opposition, including the BJP here is what I talk about, the opposition in the state, Union Minister Smriti Irani held a press conference and said this is the same left party which was present on the dais which had humiliated Mamata Banerjee? And how can the TMC share a stage with them? Would you like to respond, Mr. Rahman?
Well, of course, I was hearing Modi ji and I was hearing Smriti Irani ji as well. They were looking very nervous, but they were very much confident. That was a very fake confidence which they were giving speech. But actually, they were nervous what they have seen today and what they will see on the 11th or 12th of July. Now, the problem is that, yes, you were right. Like whatever happened with the left, whatever is happening with the Congress right now in the state, it's not, we don't have to ignore that. It's a very serious situation all over India. But the problem is that, when you talk about the past, you need to know about L.K. Advani ji, Atal Bihari Vajpayee as well, how they ignored. Now, this is what BJP does. But again, I don't want to go into the blame game. When you talk about the unity, more than any unity with the political party, the unity has to be there from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. The unity has to be there with the people of India. Where the people of India is asking for the unity, where they're fed up of BJP. But again, this dharm, this religion, this communal violence is coming every time, and I don't understand. Now, when you ask why do you need this unity when India is happy with Narendra Modi, I say, well, India is not happy with Narendra Modi. If India is happy with Narendra Modi, why the Modi government is losing all the states? Well, I have a small reason why we need another government, why we need this political whole blame game. We needs to stop. The misuse of central agencies, rupee versus dollar, demonetization, unemployment, economic blunders, betrayal of farmers, cultivation of hate, purchasing of media, and budgetary frauds. We need to stop this, ma'am. And if this gets stopped, yes, for this we need a new government. Period.
Mr. One second. Mr. Tauseefur Rahman, the troubled history, and I'm keeping the history aside between the TMC and the left party or various other political parties, say the PDP and the NC, various parties.
I can answer you.
No, one second. Let's keep that history aside. But other than the fact that the issues which are being raised by the opposition, perhaps on the issue per se, the opposition parties are on the same, on the same table or on the same page. But when it comes to electoral alliances, will the Congress party be ready to concede few seats for the TMC? Will the TMC allow the left parties to fight uncontested into certain seats? It will all boil down to the political and electoral compromises that each political party is willing to do. Do you see that happening, Mr. Rahman?
See, it's a brilliant question. And I totally agree with you, whatever you're saying. It's a brilliant question. Now, the problem is, we already state, the Honorable Chief Minister of Bengal already said clearly that we are going to support Congress. Now, Congress is not that strong in Bengal, UP or Odisha. So why not Congress need to leave their seat in Bengal? Now, Congress is very strong in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Shimla and all other states in Uttarakhand. So the Mamata Banerjee said clearly that she can go and campaign for Congress in other states. So Congress needs to leave all these seats in Bengal, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and other places as well. So this is how we want to come with Congress. If Congress is strong in any places, we can go and campaign for Congress. If TMC is strong in Bengal, Congress can come in Bengal and campaign for TMC. It is as simple as that.
So
if they can't agree with this also,
let's see if these really translate into action, because in July there is another meeting. Mr. Reddy has been waiting patiently and listening to the discussion. Mr. Reddy, your party decided to skip this opposition show of unity in Patna. There was also a statement by the Aam Aadmi Party, as I mentioned in the beginning of the debate. How do you see this plank of opposition party, and will your party at some future point would ever decide to be a part of it, or you'd like to stay away?
That our President and Honorable Chief Minister Sri KCR will decide whether to participate a platform where Congress is sharing with all of us. So, because we already have made it very clear, both Congress and BJP have done equally bad to the country. During a long term of their rule, Congress has spoiled this country. Now Narendra Modi's rule is more, comparatively dangerous than Congress party. So both have spoiled the country. There's no point sailing with both parties. So we maintain equidistance with both the parties. So there is no point, and there will not be any situation that arises where we share a platform with Congress party as far as these alliances are concerned. That is number one.
Okay.
Number two, yes, opposition and like-minded parties has to, if needed, work together to, get the BJP out of the power, because we are all seeing how BJP is functioning in the country today. Their autocratic policies and suppressing the opposition, hunt of ED, CBI and IT on opposition parties and leaders and non-BJP ruled governments. So that is essential, and people of the country also wanted a strong alternative at the center. But at the same time, it is necessary to think who all supposed to be joining hands, because I already have told you how Congress has behaved in the past 70 years when they were in rule. So the country needs a party or a system or an alternative which will think of purely development and welfare of the people, who can properly have a plan to utilize the resources of the country to betterment of this country. So just not politics.
All right.
So politics is not going to suffice.
Let's see what kind of politics really pans out. I want to cut across back to Anila Singh and Salman Soz into the discussion as we come to a close. Anila ji, a few points that were raised by the Congress party and also by the TMC, that you might look very confident, but the BJP is actually very nervous. Yes, these opposition parties don't have a common history or have had a history where there have been key standoffs. But today, what unites them are the key issues plaguing the people of the country. More importantly, this is the second point I wanted to address. If BJP is so confident, then why are they losing state elections?
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne, this is what they are dreaming. Nothing more than that. If they are seeing that people of India, they are losing confidence in Narendra Modi ji's leadership, then I think they are absolutely wrong. They are absolutely wrong. They are forgetting that in 2018, Karnataka election swearing-in ceremony, there also we saw such photo ops. They all had come together on the stage and they said, "Hum saath hain." Then what happened? Even in this particular meeting, we have seen that they are not on the same platform. 2018, Bharatiya Janata Party, we were defeated in Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Rajasthan. 2019, with thumping majority, we formed the government. So what they're talking about? If you talk about the state elections, yes, there are many local issues. And people choose accordingly. But if they think that any one of them is going to become Prime Minister of this great country in 2024, they are sadly mistaken. They all have very black history.
Mr. Salman Soz, not just the BJP, not just the BJP. Yeah, not just the BJP, Mr. Salman Soz, but most political experts will also tell you that a voter is very smart to decipher between a state election and the election that happens for Lok Sabha. While there are many local issues that dominate when a state assembly election happens, and the Congress party was voted in the state of Karnataka with a thumping majority, but that might not be the case at the centre, and various electoral trends in the country in the past have established this fact and this particular trend.
Well, if you think about what the issues are for the country, what are local election issues? Price rise, local, but is that not a national issue? Unemployment, local, is that not a national issue? What is happening in Manipur? Is that a local issue or is that a national issue? The total dereliction of duty by the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, is that a local issue or is that a national issue? I mean, you know, I'm here with you. I can challenge anybody to tell me that price rise is only a Karnataka issue, or it's only a Telangana issue, or it is only a West Bengal issue. It's a national issue. The fact that there is inequality, income inequality in this country and wealth inequality, obscene wealth inequality in this country, is that an issue for Jammu and Kashmir only, or is that for the entire country? The country is headed in the wrong direction. The fact that China is sitting on Indian territory while the Prime Minister is showing Lal Ang and China keeps coming and sitting in our territory, is that a local issue? Is that a local issue for Galwan Valley, or is that a national issue? Farmers, what is happening to farmers?
Mr. Soz,
Is that an issue only for the farmers of Haryana?
I'm only trying for you to have a more sharp argument here. But weren't these issues as prevalent and were raised by the Congress party in the last Lok Sabha elections as well?
They were.
Did they cut ice with the people? Did the people really believe that can the Congress party or any other political party solve this problem? And that's where the question of leadership comes, sir. That's what I was coming to.
No, madam. I think you're wrong. You're totally wrong. What happened in that election was, before that election, if you follow the surveys of some reputable organizations like CSDS, the Prime Minister was not as popular. Nobody felt that the BJP was going to cross the majority mark on its own. Nobody, before the election. Then happened Pulwama. Then of course, when there is an event like that, when there's an attack on the country, there is a general, people come together around the ruling party. That's natural. Please do not go back in history. Look at what the data says. Look at the data. Don't look at don't listen to what I'm saying. Look at what CSDS and companies like organizations like that were saying well before Balakot happened, well before Pulwama happened. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of soldiers, CRPF Jawans in that attack. And then there was, of course, there was a sentiment that built up. And then at that time, it could have been anybody instead of Mr. Modi, it could have been somebody else at that time as the Prime Minister.
So you're basically arguing that that victory, that electoral victory was incidental. It was not causal because of the Prime Minister's popularity. That's your point. As I close the discussion, I have to take a quick response from the BJP as I close the discussion. A quick response from the BJP. A quick response from Anilaji.
Anusha, this shows the frustration of Congress party, because when their leader went to USA, it was a flop visit. And whole of the world is observing the way Mr. Modi is being treated by the USA government, by the USA people, and by the president of USA. It is a huge successful visit. This is the frustration which is coming out from his mouth. And let me tell you, sir, if you talk about the unemployment, don't you think even the state governments are responsible for that? When you talk about the price rise or inflation, don't you think that even their state governments are responsible for that? So if you're talking about the Manipur, I mean, it is my observance, I may be wrong about it, why it started inflating when Narendra Modi ji was about to go to USA.
All right. I believe I don't want to divulge the issue here. And more importantly, the situation in Manipur right now is very, very sensitive. So a request to all the politicians and panelists on the broadcast and on the show tonight to maintain and respect the sensitivity of the situation. And I have to close the debate here. We'll have to wait and watch how much of that opposition unity really sticks ahead of 2024. We'll continue talking about that story. But right now, stepping into a short break. On the other side, politics erupts after Prime Minister Modi says that democracy is in India's DNA and there is no room for discrimination. Stay tuned.
भारत में टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर के माध्यम से इंजन बनाने का निर्णय एक लैंडमार्क एग्रीमेंट है। इससे दोनों देशों में रोजगार के नए अवसर भी खुलेंगे। यह आने वाले समय में हमारे रक्षा सहयोग को एक नया स्वरूप देगा। इस सहयोग में दोनों देशों के रक्षा उद्योग और स्टार्टअप्स महत्वपूर्ण पार्टनर्स हैं। उन्हें आपस में जोड़ना हमारे डिफेंस इंडस्ट्रियल रोडमैप का मुख्य उद्देश्य है। स्पेस साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी में हमारा गहरा और वर्षों पुराना सहयोग रहा है। आज हमने आर्टेमिस अकॉर्ड्स में शामिल होने का निर्णय लेकर हमारे स्पेस कोऑपरेशन में एक लंबी उड़ान भरी है। संक्षेप में कहूं तो भारत और अमेरिका की साझेदारी के लिए इवन स्काई इज नॉट द लिमिट। फ्रेंड्स, हमारे संबंधों का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण स्तंभ हमारे पीपल टू पीपल टाइज है। भारतीय मूल के 40 लाख से भी ज्यादा लोग आज अमेरिका की प्रगति में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे रहे हैं। आज सुबह व्हाइट हाउस में इतनी बड़ी संख्या में भारतीय लोगों की उपस्थिति इस बात का प्रमाण है कि इंडियन अमेरिकन्स हमारे संबंधों की असली ताकत है। इन संबंधों को और गहरा करने के लिए हम अमेरिका द्वारा बेंगलुरु और अहमदाबाद में कॉन्सुलेट्स खोलने के निर्णय का स्वागत करते हैं। उसी तरह सिएटल में भारत का नया कॉन्सुलेट खोलेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, आज की बैठक में हमने कई क्षेत्रीय एवं वैश्विक मुद्दों पर चर्चा की।
Your Excellency, President Biden,
दोनों देशों के
delegates of both countries, friends from the media, Namaskar. First of all, I thank President Biden for his warm words and for his positive views on India-America relations. Friends, today is a day that has special importance in the history of India-America relations. Our discussions today
विचारों के लिए धन्यवाद देता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, आज का दिन भारत और अमेरिका के संबंधों के इतिहास में एक विशेष महत्व रखता है। आज की हमारी चर्चा और हमारे द्वारा लिए गए महत्वपूर्ण निर्णयों से हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप में एक नया अध्याय जुड़ा है। एक नई दिशा और नई ऊर्जा मिली है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत अमेरिका की व्यापार और निवेश साझेदारी दोनों देशों के लिए ही नहीं बल्कि वैश्विक अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए भी महत्वपूर्ण है। आज अमेरिका भारत का सबसे बड़ा ट्रेड पार्टनर है। हमने निर्णय लिया है कि व्यापार से जुड़े लंबित मुद्दों को समाप्त कर नई शुरुआत की जाए। आईसेट यानी इनिशिएटिव फॉर क्रिटिकल एंड इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे तकनीकी सहयोग के महत्वपूर्ण फ्रेमवर्क के रूप में उभरा है। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, सेमीकंडक्टर्स, स्पेस, क्वांटम और टेलीकॉम जैसे क्षेत्रों में अपना सहयोग बढ़ाकर हम एक मजबूत और फ्यूचरिस्टिक साझेदारी की रचना कर रहे हैं। अमेरिका की माइक्रॉन, गूगल तथा एप्लाइड मटेरियल जैसी कंपनियों द्वारा भारत में निवेश करने का निर्णय इस फ्यूचरिस्टिक साझेदारी का प्रतीक है। इस यात्रा के दौरान मुझे अमेरिका के कुछ अन्य सीईओज के साथ मुलाकात करने का भी अवसर मिला। उनके साथ हुई चर्चाओं में भी मैंने भारत के प्रति उत्साह और एक सकारात्मक सोच महसूस किया। हम दोनों सहमत हैं कि हमारी स्ट्रैटेजिक टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनरशिप को सार्थक करने में गवर्नमेंट्स, बिजनेसेस और एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस का साथ आना बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। क्लीन एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन में भारत और अमेरिका के साझे विजन को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए हमने कई महत्वपूर्ण इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं। इसमें ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन, विंड एनर्जी, बैटरी स्टोरेज, कार्बन कैप्चर जैसे क्षेत्र शामिल है। हमने यह भी निर्णय लिया कि वैश्विक अनिश्चितताओं के बीच भारत और अमेरिका ट्रस्टेड पार्टनर्स की तरह रिलायबल, सिक्योर और रेजिलिएंट ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन और वैल्यू चेन तैयार करेंगे। भारत और अमेरिका के बीच करीबी रक्षा सहयोग हमारे आपसी विश्वास और साझा रणनीतिक प्राथमिकताओं का प्रतीक है। पुराने समय के
Welcome back. You're watching Viewpoint, shifting focus to Prime Minister Modi's tour of the United States. During a joint press conference with US President Joe Biden, the Prime Minister rejected the reports of attacks on religious minorities and free speech. The Prime Minister asserted that democracy is the spirit of India and flows through the history and our veins. He further said that there is no question of any kind of discrimination in India on grounds of caste or religion, adding that the government follows the constitution, which was formed by the basic values of democracy. The Congress and the other opposition parties slammed the Prime Minister for giving a lackluster response. They have accused the Prime Minister of ignoring a situation in Manipur or pushing a discriminatory agenda via the Uniform Civil Code. In fact, the opposition has also referred to a recent interview of the former US President Barack Obama, where the former president was heard saying and raising concerns about Indian democracy and must also enter into diplomatic conversations, namely the protection of minority rights. Beyond that, time and again, the opposition has taken pot shots at the way Prime Minister spoke, his language, or the manner in which he conducted himself during the visit. Given the power play and the expanding global might of India and its positioning, are the opposition jibes really warranted? And more importantly, are they adequately substantiated? Our focus.
Cheers.
We were strangers in defense cooperation at the turn of the century. Now, the United States has become one of our most important defense partners.
The relationship with India really cross-cuts all sectors, public and private, whether it's economy, science, engineering, emerging tech. So, I mean, there's just an awful lot of cross-pollination here in trade and tech that I just think augurs really, really well for this partnership going forward.
Democracy is one of our sacred and shared values. In the evolution of the democratic spirit, India is the mother of democracy. जब आप डेमोक्रेसी कहते हैं, जब डेमोक्रेसी को स्वीकार करते हैं और जब हम डेमोक्रेसी को लेकर के जीते हैं, तब डिस्क्रिमिनेशन का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है। भारत अपने लिए करता है, हम ग्लोबल इनिशिएटिव भी लेते हैं।
प्रधानमंत्री अमेरिका में कहते हैं कि डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं होता है, तो फिर मणिपुर में 300 चर्चेस को जला दिया गया। बताइए वो क्या है? डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं तो क्या है?
Well, joining us on the panel tonight is Mr. Tohin Sinha, the spokesperson of the BJP, Ashpreet Karyal of the Congress Party, Mr. Ashok Sajjanar, who's a former diplomat. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Ashpreet, let's begin with you. In this about 20 to 25-page long, statement, a joint statement from United States and India, there are multiple issues and achievements that the two countries have achieved that have been highlighted. In fact, there is a very strong assertion that Pakistan must act on its soil, the terror that it foils on its soil. There are various things that the BJP highlights, that the government highlights, that has been the victory of the government as far as this visit is concerned. Why is the opposition nitpicking? And that's the key question that the BJP is asking.
Thank you for the question. First and foremost, I'd request the Bharatiya Janata Party to give up their double standards. If they can do a press conference on foreign soil, why not do any press conference in India for the last 9 long years? Number two, saying that Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas is what our democracy is all about, and then having negligible representation in the cabinet for Muslims, I think speaks volumes about how the Bharatiya Janata Party lies, and that too blatantly. Number three, you see the Bharatiya Janata Party, when it says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, I think it refers to all the IT, ED, CBI, SEBI cases that they have been registering against the opposition parties and against many media outlets. Given that the Bharatiya Janata Party, I think credit goes to the Bharatiya Janata Party, their political vendetta and doing away of the democracy has led to all the opposition parties uniting against them and the entire country uniting against them. I just don't understand one thing. Why does the Bharatiya Janata Party, have to have this pretense? Why does the Bharatiya Janata Party not follow what it preaches, practice what it preaches abroad on foreign soil? There, certain things are being claimed, but if you go by the stats, if you go by what's been happening in India, talk of, women empowerment, talk of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao.
No, that's vague. No. But these are no. Ashpreet, I respect the argument that you're making, but these are very vague assertions. There is a particular issue of minority rights which has been repeatedly raised, and on that particular issue, you have spoken of the representation in the cabinet of the issue of minority. But that doesn't really translate into minorities being in some kind of danger here in India. You tell me one step, and I ask this to you as a student of law, and you know law very well. What are the steps that the government has taken that has statutorily or constitutionally threatened the status of minorities in this country?
I'll tell you that.
Yes.
First and foremost, NSA, UAPA, sedition. Please pick up all these cases that have been registered and tell me against which community maximum cases have been registered. You will know what the answer to that is. Number two, saying that we are very democratic and then being very dictatorial about it, I think is what the Bharatiya Janata Party is all about. You see, we wanted the Bharatiya Janata Party to do away with the sedition law because, it basically says if you show any disaffection towards the government, you will be prosecuted. Why should it not be the state? Why should it be the government? India is not the government.
I have limited time on the show, and that's why I'm interjecting you.
India.
Tuhin, you want to respond on these points. There are various points which have been raised, especially pertaining to minority rights. And during the visit of the Prime Minister, that was the question that was asked. Your thoughts, Tuhin?
Well, good evening, Anusha. I think, the country has gone beyond Congress nitpicking and nobody takes them seriously. They tried their best to sabotage Prime Minister's visit. Rahul Gandhi specifically spent 10 days in US trying to convince them that democracy is in danger. But 2 days of the Prime Minister's visit has completely, completely decimated that argument. The fact is, India is the world's oldest democracy. In fact, if Congress had a better connect with Ramayana, they would understand that the earliest concept of Ram Rajya comes from Ramayana, which is many thousand years old. So democracy can never be in danger in India. They talk about representation in cabinet, but look at the kind of MPs they promoted, the opposition per se promoted when in the name of Muslim MPs. Atiq Ahmed, a dreaded criminal, Muhammad Taslimuddin from the Congress party, from Kishanganj. I can name many others. But, it is not merely about representation. We have Ghulam Azad from Jammu, from one of the backward-most communities in the Rajya Sabha. So that representation certainly does not matter so much as long as they enjoy all the basic rights which are available to the other communities. And in terms of deliverance, when it comes to government schemes, you go by data in all of the government schemes.
So in the schemes, that's what the Prime Minister also said, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and in our government schemes, no government does a favor by including all the minorities. It is their constitutional duty and it's the right of every citizen. Ashpreet, the opposition, including the Congress party, has all the right to raise issues pertaining to minority rights and various other issues. But the manner in which the discourse is panning out in social media and public domain, it looks like that we are trying to pull down our own image, the image of our own Prime Minister, while he is on a state visit to the United States of America. I don't see that happening in any other democracy of the world.
Exactly. I did not see that happening in any other democracy of the world when the Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders went to foreign soil and said that people used to feel ashamed for being born an Indian back in the day when they were not in power, back in the day when our prime ministers, when our other leaders were visiting abroad. This is what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing. The BJP is accustomed to blowing hot and cold at the same time, which they need to give up. They need to give up their double standards. Number two, when it comes to minorities, you take an example of NRC, CAA. Due to the NRC, so many people have been left out of the loop. And despite their, going door to door, they have not been helped. Talk of the demeanor of the government, of the police, of the agencies towards minorities when it comes to, taking the law into their hands. They have been demolishing their houses. They have been demolishing their places of work. And the Bharatiya Janata Party says, it's fine because the Bharatiya Janata Party is in power. They can do anything and everything that they feel like. Let me tell the Bharatiya Janata Party one thing. If you mean democracy, start practicing it. Just saying it does not help.
Ashpreet, before I have limited time, I also want to bring in Mr. Ashok Sajjanar into the discussion. But I want a quick point from you, Ashpreet. Is it also democratic to make fun of somebody's English or the manner in which they use their language? Is that also part of democracy, and is that also part of political etiquette?
Is it good to call somebody Saddam? Is it good to call somebody Diane? Is it good to address the former Prime Minister as
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's wrong. Whoever has done it is wrong.
That's wrong, right?
Yes, it is.
That's wrong, right?
And whoever is doing it is wrong right now. And whoever is doing it is wrong right now. Mr. Ashok Sajjanar. Mr. Ashok Sajjanar, I want you to come into the discussion. As I went through the joint statement from the recent meet that has happened from United States and India, there are commendable strides that have been made as far as cooperation is concerned in technology, in space, various investments, exchange of information, and the close cooperation that the two countries are viewing together. In para 35 of this joint statement, that also is a stern warning to Pakistan, also talking about the Mumbai terror attacks that have happened. This is an assertion of growing clout of India. The politics that you already heard, how much of that is warranted at this point in time? Mr. Sajjanar.
Yeah, I think the politics is not warranted at all because, the opposition parties might say that they are saying this not against the state. They are not saying it against, but they are mentioning about the party. But that does not really, in my view, hold water because, when they are talking about that the position is so dire, the position is so bad in India, what does it mean? That, foreign investors, because what are we looking for when we go out? We are looking for foreign investment. We are looking for technology. We are looking for cooperation. We are looking for collaboration. And those people, those who are in a position to invest in your country, they are going to say that, there is a problem and, the opposition is also aligning itself with some of these ideologues in the other countries, which they say that, there is a danger of a genocide, etc. While, there are even these Pew reports that have come out, which speak about the fact that 98% of the Muslims in India say that there is no discrimination against them.
Mr. Sajjanar, my limited point is this, that I believe opposition parties have a right to raise issues about minority rights. Every institution has a right to talk. I'm only talking about the manner in which this discourse is being framed. The framing of a discourse is very important more than the issues themselves. Have you seen this happen in any other part of the world, in any other part of, diplomacy or politics, that the leader of the country is pulled down during a state visit? Or is that something which is acceptable in democratic cultures? I wanted an objective analysis from you.
No, it's not acceptable at all. I think, in my view, it is basically the opposition is trying to stretch, hold on to non-existent straws. There nothing exists, but they are trying to sort of, find out some reason or the other. I think the visit has been is a huge success. It's been a game changer. It's been, taken the relationship forward in a very, very significant way. And all that is happening is going to be to the benefit of India. And I think the whole country needs to celebrate in that rather than sort of, as you put it, nitpicking and, trying to show.
Well, I'm short of time. I'm short of time today, but you're right. And the domestic issues, of course, are part of our domestic politics. No intervention of any third country is needed. And the opposition has all the right to raise these issues in the domestic politics of the country. The timing of it, as I said, is clearly questionable. Talking about the joint statement that has been issued and what has been substantially achieved, most experts would argue that the visit has been a success. I thank all my guests for joining us on the broadcast, Ashpreet Karyal and Mr. Ashok Sajjanar and also Tuhin Sinha. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the show tonight. We'll continue tracking this and much more. It's a wrap on Viewpoint tonight. Plain Speak follows.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Opposition leaders from 15 parties met today in Patna to firm up their strategy ahead of 2024 elections. They say they've decided to contest the elections together and will formulate a strategy state by state. How, though, we'll have to wait to learn. Even as the meeting ended, though, it was clear not all were on the same page. While Nitish Kumar helmed the press conference, Kejriwal, Bhagwant Mann, Sanjay Singh and Raghav Chadha of the Aam Aadmi Party were missing, and so was M.K. Stalin of the DMK, who did not participate in the open press briefing. They left after the meeting. But Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi flanked the Bihar Chief Minister. Kharge said all leaders have decided to fight together and are planning